I decided that I was going to channel my very own inner Deandra Nicole and use props to show off this new palette. The prop in question, my harp. It's going to make you think that every Irish person has a harp. We don't. It's either a harp or a potato, but there you go. I chose a harp. If you can't tell what palette I'm talking about, it's the new Ireland Wild Atlantic Way by Nomad Cosmetics, and they were so kind and gifted it to me. It's not PR, it's literally just, I went into their messages and was like, oh my God, I'm so excited about it. And I think they just felt sorry for me. Normally, I'm really good at throwing away packaging because I don't want to be a pack rat, but look at this. Like, this is the Cliffs of Moher, one of the biggest things around Ireland. So like, I had to include this. I have to keep it. It's staying with me. The outside of the packaging, it's green. It's velvet. It's stunning. I guess I should use my prop now. A massive thank you to Nomad Cosmetics. I'ma play you one or two lines from a harpist who is from the Wild Atlantic Way. I feel like that's enough use of props for the moment. Let's actually talk about the palette.
This is the palette itself. It's absolutely stunning. Look at the fabulous little detailing there. These are all kind of like embellishments. It's very, very similar to the Celtic knot. So they've kept it so consistent. We of course see a shamrock there, Nomad, Ireland, Wild Atlantic Way, that beautiful green and the gold embossing. It's just sheer perfection. A head tracer, look at me there. You can see they've also got a picture of the Cliffs of Moher. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world, I believe. It's stunning. I had a little look at this and I got so excited because they've got place names here. They've got a lot of things that are significant to Ireland. I want to talk briefly about the colour story. People were saying that they were surprised that there wasn't more green in it. Now, I love green. You all know I love green, but I think if they had put in nothing but green, it would have been a little bit too cliche. And I think they've actually captured some of the real nuances of Ireland here. So I actually think this is quite interesting. Let's talk about some of the symbols that are actually imprinted on these. I want to start over here on the left hand side and you'll see why very, very soon. The very first shade is called Diagwich, which is actually Irish for hello, or if you're directly translating it, it is God be with you. The response back is Gia Ismuradich. Now you see each of the shades are called Diagwich, Connemara and Rings of Kerry. That's all along the west coast. Now the emblem that we see here is Claddagh. Now the Claddagh comes from Galway and there's a ring that comes from this and there's very specific meaning across all of this. So the hands denote friendship, the heart means love and the crown means loyalty. And depending on whether you wear your heart outwards or inwards, it shows that you're single or you're looking for love. So I think these are just sheer perfection. Then of course we have our Blarney stone. If you don't know, that's a particular stone that is in the castle down in Blarney in Cork. And if you kiss it, you're meant to get the gift of the gab. So basically get really good at talking. I mean, I could have done with a bit of that. Then of course we have Wild Atlantic Way and they've put their own emblem there. Bunratty Castle, which is just around Clare and Galway. Such a brilliant fun day out, by the way, if you are interested. Then we're looking at this side here. We of course see the harp emblem, and by the way, if you want to know, the Irish for harp is Clórshacht. So the very first one that we see here is Sláinte, and that is Irish for health. Then we have the Wild Rover and we have Danny Boy. What I think is really interesting about this is that these are kind of like drinking songs. And normally if we're going out and we're drinking, as you're raising a glass, you would say Sláinte. So like health, and then you'll down one. Maybe don't, but I find it really interesting that they've grouped it in this way. They really hung out with quite a few Irish people during their time here. I'm not against it. Then the next one we see is obviously the shamrock. For those of you who don't know, the shamrock is associated with St. Patrick. So it's actually really quite smart that they've linked this in with Croagh Patrick, which is a little bit of a height just in County Mayo, which is where I'm from. And it's a place of pilgrimage where he went to help basically have the pagans convert to Christianity. But he used the shamrock to denote the Trinity of God. So the fact that they've kind of linked in the shamrock here and linked in Croagh Patrick, they know what they're doing. Sorry, I'm very excited. So we have Croagh Patrick, we have Emerald Isle, and then up at the very top we have Taoiseach. Now Taoiseach is Irish for wealth, and it actually basically directly means, from very, very old Irish, a herd of cattle, because that's how we could tell whether or not we were wealthy, was how many cows we have. Oh, how times have changed. Then if we move on over here, we see some of the coastal points. So we have Savage Beauty here. So I assume relating to, you know, the Atlantic and just how incredibly dangerous it can be. Malinhead then is the most northerly part of Ireland. It's just in Dublin, not Dublin, Donegal. I was there not that long ago, actually hanging out with a bunch of alpacas. Highly recommend. And then there is, of course, the Cliffs of Moher, which we can see is also on the packaging in and of itself. And then the very last column that I want to get to, you'll see why in a minute. I mean, look at that shade, isn't that gorgeous? I want to talk about the symbol first. It's called triquetra, and it basically comes from neo-paganism. Technically, you're not meant to see it without the circle. Like, the triquetra is just those kind of like little angular pieces, almost like a triangle, but it rarely ever actually came without the circle. The circle kind of gives it like this context, like grounding point. Because it comes from neo-paganism, it's weirdly enough actually another trinity not unlike the shamrock. However, because it's neo-paganism, and neo-paganism was all about the divine femininity, it's actually basically celebrating the Virgin, the Mother, and the old wise woman. So I think that's actually really, really cool. Of course, we have Cove Harbour, where the Titanic left from. Keem Strand, oh my God, absolutely amazing place if you've ever been. And very fittingly, the very last shade is called Slán, which means goodbye in Irish. I wanted to point out something else that I'm only after noticing. To see the little embossing on the velvet like this, they've made it into little shamrocks. Oh my God, this is sheer perfection. I mean, I obviously have to say a huge, disgusting thank you to Nomad Cosmetics. I've bought most of their palettes to date, and I've always loved their quality, but oh my God, there are no words for this one. I am so excited. I haven't played with makeup in forever because honestly, I've been struggling a little bit with my own stuff, but hey, whatever. This is going to have to be my first palette back. It has to be. It has to be. I am so excited about this. I just think it's absolutely stunning and I can't wait to play with it. Thank you so much, Nomad Cosmetics. And guys, let me know, are you getting it? Did you get it? What's the story? I'm nosy and interested as always. Oh, so cool.